There is a recent poll in India, 68% of Indian judges said that provocative attire amounts to, and I quote, an invitation to rape. So to help us better understand these and many other issues, we're very delighted to welcome Rainuka Dagar. Rainuka is Director of Research at the Gender Studies Unit at the Institute for Development and Communication in India.
Gender rights, when I started work on it, was just taking off. The Beijing conference was on the forefront of international dialogue, and one started in a more very exploratory kind of a manner, and one was scared, also hesitant that one would get labeled as a feminist, but that was not one's idea. But as one grappled with the issues, one found that these are common across vulnerable groups that are on the margins. So gender is just an additional dimension, and it's not such a standalone issue. In itself, the changing in role hierarchy is going to do nothing. You cannot have a change in role hierarchies unless and until the social organization itself does not get changed. And if the social organization promotes particular kind of roles, if it promotes a male kinship network, if it promotes patriarchy as a solution, because that's what is catering to the livelihood, to survival, to protection mechanisms for the society. That's what the human rights are just laying a standard. But are they delivering? They cannot deliver because those processes are rooted in social ethos and relations, which are linked to your production processes, which may be land, which may be your businesses. You have tribal societies where matrilineal is the social organization, where the youngest daughter in the family inherits all resources. So you're denying the other daughters and the sons. So that's also not gender just. So the way the society is organized, if those are the inheritance patterns, why are those inheritance patterns given? It's not just arbitrarily selected, it's happening because it works. Women are the main victims of violence against gender violence, but men also are sexually assaulted. They are also used as a rape against them is also used as a weapon of war. And even communities who digress, who allow, let's say, interreligious marriages or intercaste marriages may be targeted. France had its first gay marriage. There were armed protests outside against this marriage. Nigeria in 2011 has passed a law saying there's marriage between the same sex is illegal. So there is community violence directed in pursuit in areas which are outside the accepted social boundaries. So women are not the only victims.
In listening to you, I ask myself, to what degree, how would you approach this from a pedagogical perspective in teaching this issue? Does it make sense to have isolated courses on gender violence on that issue? Or would it make more sense to try to integrate the gender issue in the entire curriculum, and how would you go about doing that? It seems to me if you treat this as a separate issue, it's very isolated.
I think it would be excellent if you could build in an illustrations, and you could build in those dimensions in the larger the policy debates. Constructing a gender capital is one of the frameworks that could be applied to address gender inequalities and gender violence. This matrix talks about a negotiation across diverse stakeholders. The stakeholders could be political leadership, it could be women rights activists, civil society, media. So these are the these are the stakeholders which have to guide and influence the gender dynamics. Talk about integration. That means it's not just a matter of being raped, or it's not just getting medical treatment or getting a job. For instance, we saw during terrorism in Punjab, that's a situation I saw closely, so I can talk about that, where men also and women also who faced violence, but they did not get jobs. The government gave them special, let's say, IDs where you will get free road transport, you will get pensions and stuff like that. And we found that you are promoting the victimization by excluding them, by making them separate from the general. And we suggested that we do know that there are 5 or 6 districts where most of the victimization occurred. So you ensure that in all those districts there is open access to health, to education, to other facilities which are required by these communities. So you do not target or label one person. And obviously there's a financial crunch, so you can't have it all in all of Punjab where one would have liked, but at least you can target the area rather than targeting the people. So this kind of a strategy where you build and move from a victim frame to a larger societal frame where you move towards reintegration of the communities within the larger ethos. So it's not, your strategy should not be limited just to individuals.